Welcome back to Prep for Retirement TV. Here's a quick recap of what we've talked about: taxes in retirement and Roth conversions. And now we want to talk about the need for long-term care. So we've been talking earlier about this study that shows that married couples 65 years of age or older will have a 75% chance of needing some kind of long-term care. So how do you have this discussion with clients, and how do you help them with that?
Well, it's really a hard discussion, and it's something that we're all experiencing it, right? With a lot of times with our parents, it's real. We see it firsthand. And it's different because if we go back a generation before, if we go to our grandparents, they didn't have long-term care. They didn't have a need for it, right? I actually did some research on my two grandfathers, and they both worked till about 65, and then they both passed away at 75. They didn't need long-term care, right? They died too early. But now we're living a more active life, right? We're more active, we exercise, we eat right, we're healthier. Medicine is way more advanced than it was. For that reason, we're living longer, and the longer we live, the greater the odds are that we're going to need some help living later in life. Now, my father passed away in his late 80s, so he didn't need it, but my mom is 93, and she's now in an assisted living facility in Rockville, Maryland. She lives in a really nice home with just 8 people. She gets great care, but it's not cheap. It's $9,000 a month. Her Social Security and her pension doesn't cover that. So fortunately, she had the best financial advisor, and we, allocated her money properly, and she has the assets now to support that, to pay for that. And so what she's doing is she's self-insuring. She's paying it out of her own pocket, and she's blessed. She's able to do that. But what we know is that we're living longer. We have this massive population of baby boomers, so the demand is going through the roof and will continue to go through the roof. And with that, the demand will probably outstrip supply, and what happens then? We see prices go even higher. So we have to think about it. We have to try and plan for it. It's never too early to start. I mean, the sooner the better when it comes to long-term care.
Well, I'm glad that your mom has the best financial advisor.
She got that right.
That's wonderful. But for the rest of us, trying to figure out how to pay for this, as you were mentioning, prices are continuing to go up.
Correct.
What is the solution?
Well, there's really 2 ways. There's really only 2 ways. You can use it, you can pay for it out of your own assets, right? If you have millions and millions of dollars, you have the assets to pay for it. My mom doesn't have millions and millions, but she has enough, so she's paying for it. The other way is to pay for it with insurance. And that also is a very polarizing topic. People hate the long-term care policies or they love them. And when I have this discussion about the long-term care policies, I like to share with the clients and viewers that there are 2 types of policies. There's the old policies and the new. And to understand it, you have to understand both policies. So the old policy was sort of like homeowners insurance. You pay a monthly premium, and if your house burns down, you have the money to pay for your house. Long-term care was the same way. You paid a monthly premium. If you needed to go into a long-term care facility, you had some insurance there to pay some of it or all of it, depending on the policy. But if you passed away early, you lost all those premiums. It just vanished and went to the insurance company. But that's insurance, right? There were also some problems where they weren't priced correctly, so it didn't cover as much. They raised premiums. They really became a problem, and a lot of them imploded. So the old policies, we don't want to do anything with those. But the new policies are outstanding. I like to call them a hybrid policy. So it's a hybrid between a life insurance policy and a long-term care policy. So you put money in, you pay a premium. If you need to go to long-term care, you have a pool of money from this policy to pay for your coverage. You're paying pennies to get dollars to pay for your needs. So that's the first way this policy works. Now, if you pass away early and you don't need the money for long-term care, then it's a death benefit. It's a regular life insurance policy where the death benefit goes to your spouse, tax-free, maybe your spouse uses it for long-term care, or it goes to your children tax-free. It's a win-win. You never lose out on this type of policy. And the thing to remember about these policies is you can't just go to the local insurance store and buy one off the shelf. You have to qualify for one of these policies, right? The younger you are, the better. The healthier you are, the better. The more assets you have, the better. So they're not just, you can't just buy it on the internet. You have to qualify. So if you're interested, it's important to understand them and then maybe pursue it for your future needs.
So what can viewers do today with what you've told us?
Well, I think the simplest thing to do is to give us a call. You can call our local number, 410-599-3300. We have a QR code as well. You can scan that, grab one of my appointments, and we can sit down and talk about long-term care. We can compare maybe some of your old policies and maybe convert them or exchange them into a newer hybrid policy that'll help you pay for your long-term care needs. It's as simple as that.
So somebody maybe years ago purchased a policy thinking that they were doing the right thing.
Correct.
And realized now there's something newer. You can help
Exactly.
them kind of maneuver that.
Correct. You can do an exchange. You can switch one policy for another, especially if you don't need a life insurance policy. You can convert it and make it into one of these new hybrid policies.
So many times people have questions. They just
Oh, yeah.
really don't know who to ask, who to trust.
100%.
So how can you help put them at ease?
Sure. I'm licensed for life insurance and long-term care, so I've been licensed for over 25 years. So I have a lot of experience, dealing with life insurance and long-term care policies. And I don't deal with just one company, so we lay out all the companies that we deal with and find the right one for the client. So it's just showing you the options, whether it makes sense for you or not. It's that simple.
That's good. Thank you so much for your expertise, for sharing
you're
your
welcome.
knowledge and really breaking down these pretty complicated topics.
They
We
can be.
appreciate your time. But we've got more retirement planning topics, 3 more coming up, and we'll have that next week. We will see you then. Thanks for joining us.